Hello. How's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Hope everyone's feeling fantastically well. It is, what day is it even today? Thursday. It is Thursday, 27th of March, and obviously we are slowly but steadily coming closer to Arsenal kicking back off in Premier League, of course, and some other bits and bobs, of course. Closing up, we are on Champions League, we are closing in on other things here or there. Lots of things are happening, and obviously the closer Premier League is getting back to action, the closer the club football is getting back to action, of course, Arsenal are getting closer to that as well. And today, on the agenda, basically, on the stream, we're gonna talk about Bukayo Saka. It's a bit of a soft topic for whole Arsenal fan base. Just put it that way. We're gonna talk about potential signings, potential sales. Obviously, Isak has kind of halted his talks with with Newcastle over new contract, and we'll see how that goes. But obviously, Arsenal also have identified a secondary option if Alexander Isak cannot be signed. There are talks about Nwaneri's new contract and some other news which I generally found very interesting, and we're gonna touch up on it today. So if you're new around here, of course, subscribe, smash the like button, helps a lot, doesn't cost a thing and everything. And of course, leave your thoughts down in the live chat as we are discussing things, because I would love to know your opinion. Big up, coach. Big up, my guy. How you doing? Yes, I'm doing better. I'm much better, by the way. As you can see, cough tiny bit is still here, but I am much better, to say the least. And I can consistently now go live as well. So D2 is quite fantastic. Big up Marlon as well. And yes, looks like Bukayo Saka is back pretty much quite heavy, full extent to some obviously. Yeah, on Tuesday, of course, as Marlon is already saying, we're playing Fulham, so we'll see how that goes. And we're kicking things off with some shocking news that nobody else expected in the world, that basically Arsenal are not exercising their option to buy Raheem Sterling. Shocking display of things, isn't it? Shocking display of things. So excited to sign him on loan, just for 7 months later to say, well, we don't want you here anymore. And to be honest, rightly so. Let's not kid ourselves. He could arguably be one of the worst loans we have ever done at Arsenal. Let's be real. It comes on the same pars as Kim Kallstrom and stuff like that even. And yeah, it's not looking good. It's not good. Even Denis Suarez was better alone. Let's be real. So it is quite an interesting one. But let's be real. Let's not kid ourselves. It's music to everyone's ears that Raheem Sterling is not going to be an Arsenal player next year. Arsenal have no intention to signing him full time, and that is quite fantastic, because if we did sign him, genuinely, it could be kind of nuts in the fan base. To ease into things, this is something that I found really annoying. Let's just put it that way, to say the least. Because, let's be real, we are Arsenal, a big club. We should be winning trophies, and we are winning nada. So here it is. How long it's been since all 20 Premier League clubs last won a major trophy? Basically, latest winners. Newcastle, 11 days. They won Carabao Cup, obviously. Man United, 306 days. They also won the Carabao Cup. Under Ten Hag, in 2 years, they got to 3 finals and won 2 trophies. More than Arsenal, more than Arteta in 5.5. So, hey, it is what it is. Man City, of course, 312 days. Liverpool, 1 year. West Ham, 2 years. That's the Conference League. Of course, Chelsea as well. Leicester has won trophy more recently than Arsenal. How pathetic is that? I'm not gonna lie. And then there's Arsenal, 5 years. And if I'm not mistaken, it's almost, if not actually exactly, it's somewhere around 1,700 days. 1,700 days since Arsenal have won a major trophy. 1,700 days, there or thereabouts. Like, if that isn't telling you everything you need to know, I'm not sure what will. I genuinely. And of course, Spurs, 17 years long. Well, Spurs is Spurs, but kind of cannot laugh at Spurs. We are 1/3 the way where Spurs are at the moment, so it is a bit of an iffy one. But hey, all the eggs have been thrown into Champions League basket. Obviously, I don't think we can win it. I'm not gonna lie, but obviously that's the only trophy we still have a shot at this year. Let's just put it that way. Was at the pub yesterday and their waiter who supports Chelsea was bantering me saying we never win anything. I guess makes me love Arsenal even more. So glad I chose Arsenal because we have a soul unlike Chelsea. Well, you could say that, but Chelsea have won a trophy more recently than Arsenal, ironically enough. So, well, so someone said we can still win the league. No way, no ways rotating the league. Max Dauman, etc. For the vibes I wanted you. We cannot play Max Dauman in Premier League. First things first, he's registered to under 18s and he cannot play for us. That's the first thing. Second of all, in Champions League, it's just, we'll see. In Premier League, pretty much it's vibes only. In Champions League, whether you like it or not, there's even 1% chance we can win it. There is 1% maybe, but there is still that percent, and people are genuinely hanging on to it like basically their lives depend on it. Let's just say it as it is. We can't win from here, so I hope, let's put it in general, we can win. True, that is the biggest thing. In Premier League, I don't want to say top 4 is guaranteed, but let's be real, top 4 more or less is guaranteed unless we totally fumble the bag. Although, in recent times I wouldn't put it past us, but hey, let's not look into that regard. Champions League is the only place we can do it, genuinely. I think because our defense have a bigger chance. Our defense, that's the only thing, to be honest, that has been rock solid, you could argue, in Premier League and in Champions League. You could argue that. Because it's been a long time since Arsenal have conceded 2 or more goals. It's been about a year, if not more. In Champions League as well, of course. And in Premier League as well, we have the best defense in the league as well. It's the midfield and the attack that's letting us down quite heavily. That is the big thing. That's what's letting us down quite heavily. And with the way we have spent our money over the last 5 years, you would think, and the amount as well, that we have backups to kind of maybe boost our attack, but we don't. We don't. We are very thin. We are very sold short in that regard. But I want to see us at least win the last 9 games. You see, you want to see us winning the last 9 games in Premier League, right? But if we look at Arsenal's games, right? Arsenal's schedule in the last 9 games, it's nothing too easy, is it? Fulham at home, given the fact how we have played against Fulham in the recent times away and at home in the last 2 seasons, wouldn't put my money on it. Let's just put it that way. Everton away, Moise, and all that stuff always is insanely tough game, let's be real. Real Madrid, Brentford at home, we'll see how that goes. Ipswich away will be an interesting one. Ipswich away will be an interesting one because we tend to struggle against these teams away. That is the big thing for me. We tend to struggle, and Ipswich, although they are 9 points below Wolverhampton, they might hope to get some, maybe get there, although they're losing games left, right and center, so maybe it should be somewhat easy. Crystal Palace at home should be a win. Bournemouth at home, I have no idea what to expect. We tend to struggle in recent times against Fulham, against Bournemouth, and it's not gonna be as easy as people say. Liverpool away at Anfield. Well, we haven't won there in 12 years, so not too sure about that one. Newcastle at home, given the last few years. Dude, it's hell on earth, I'm not gonna lie. It's always been a hell on earth for us. And even home and away, by the way, Newcastle. And Southampton away in the last day. You would expect a win, but ironically enough, Southampton, just like Everton and teams like that, it's one of those bogey teams. We somehow struggle against them left, right and center. That is the big issue. Exactly, and the next game is against Fulham on Tuesday, right? As Marlon is saying, it's a must-win game. Exactly. Coach, on the other hand, wants to rest everyone against Fulham and then put all the eggs in Champions League basket, dude. Fulham own us. To some extent, they do. Fulham, to some extent, own us, yeah. We need, to be honest, basically, we have to realize that top 4, it is what it is for us this season in Premier League. Whether it's going to be 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, obviously time only will tell. I think Champions League is the only place where we actually can do stuff. Against Madrid, nick 1-0 at home and stink out a 2-1 away. It can happen. It can, but Wouldn't put my money on it. Let's just put it that way. By the way, while we are on topic about Real Madrid and Arsenal, right? Big up to Arsenal's women's team. Big up to Arsenal's women's team. Quarterfinals of Champions League, we played Real Madrid women's team, and the way we lost 2-0, it was a shocking display by us. But at home yesterday, we won 3-0. Alex Russo scored 2 goals. Chloe Kelly was fantastic. Leah Williamson was unstoppable defensively yesterday. Real Madrid had 1 shot on target and everything. And on top of that, Russo scored 2 more goals and both of them were offside, unfortunately. She could have scored 4 goals. She could have been on 4 goals yesterday. So, Arsenal women's team, let's hope our main squad takes inspiration from this, because obviously Real Madrid women's team don't have the heritage in Champions League whatsoever. They basically been made about 8-9 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Real Madrid women's team. See, it was founded in September 2014 as CD Tacon, right? And then Real Madrid Femenino was created on July 1st, 2020. So this club is only 5 years old almost. Only 5 years old on July 1st. So it's a bit different, I'm not gonna lie, than playing the Royal Real Madrid, but hey, it is what it is, I guess. But big up to our women's team. They were 2-0 down, coming back from Spain, and they won yesterday 3-0. Absolutely annihilated their women's team, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, half of those clubs we have to play still in Premier League. Genuinely, half of these, like Everton, Palace, Everton, Fulham, Newcastle, Bournemouth, to some extent Southampton as well. All of we are struggling against them like no tomorrow, and it's a tough one. Big up Hendon. Big up my guy. Thank you for dropping by. Big up. We already on Brighton Beach on the Pebbles. No way the league is worth anything right now. Pool will have to lose 4 and draw 2. We have to win all games. That's the thing. It's a 4-game swing. 4-game swing alone, given that Liverpool lose next 4 and Arsenal win next 4 alone, just for us to be even in a fighting chance. And with 9 games to go, especially since we still have to go Anfield away, we have to play Newcastle at home, and Newcastle are fighting quite hard for top 4, right? It's not possible. Half of the teams we have to play still in these last 9 games are teams we struggle against them no matter where we play them. As we talked about, Fulham, Southampton away, Everton away, of course there is Bournemouth at home, and of course the obvious suspects like Liverpool and Newcastle, so I don't expect much. Even with Bukayo Saka back, which is a bit of a soft topic these days, let's be real, for whole Arsenal fan base, because fan base is genuinely split about playing and not playing Bukayo Saka. It is what it is. But yeah, time only will tell. Time genuinely only will tell. Women's team have 3 Champions Leagues and are actually winning something. Man, we just women's. That's the thing. Chloe Kelly looked better than pretty much every single winger we have yesterday, besides Bukayo Saka. Alessi Rousseau looked better than 29 has looked in his entire life, pretty much. So yeah, it is a bit of an interesting one in that regard. But big up to women's team. I'm not gonna lie, big up to women's team. They have gone to like 7 or 8 Champions League semi-finals overall, and that is something we haven't done as a men's team whatsoever. Big up Aaron. Big up Aaron. If you haven't, go subscribe to Aaron Talks Arsenal. Top guy, top content, not top gooner. Just remember, he's not a top gooner. Top guy, top content, not top gooner. That's the main thing. Cup is better than the league. No consistency needed. We can win. That is the only thing. Obviously, I don't expect us beating Real Madrid over 2 legs. I'm not like out there in Narnia or something like that. But if I had to put my money on us, basically between Champions League and Premier League, I obviously will put my money on Champions League. Let's just put it that way. And there's no questions about that. Mbappe. I remember in the 80s, the world's #1 female challenged the world's #1 and what? Dude, you've seen how what it was some time ago, but USA women's national team challenged Wrexham retired like 45-year-old retired players, right? And for all the hype that women's teams say and everything they do and everything, they got smashed by 45-year-old geezers about 12 nothing. Like there was no chance they would do anything. It was kind of insane. And even the USA's women's team was beat by under 16 boys team. Not the USA. No, it even was maybe USA's boys team, under 16s and everything. It's actually kind of nuts in that regard. Seriously, it's not even a joke. That's an official thing. It has happened. There are articles about it and everything. And that was actually in recent history, in the last 5-6 years. It's not like it happened about 50 years ago. Big up, big up, big up. But yeah, in those regards, this stat is actually kind of embarrassing given the fact that Leicester, the last time Leicester won a major trophy, has been more recent than Arsenal. Obviously, why Spurs are there since it's been about 17 years. That's kind of nuts. That's more than half my age, but hey, here we are, right? But Arsenal are 5 years, 1700 days without a trophy. That is pathetic, embarrassing, and should be sackable offense if there ever was a sackable offense. How this manager is still at the job genuinely is a joke thing, to say the least. Did you see USA match not looking good for World Cup? Yeah, it's not looking good. Although I think for the World Cup it will be different. It will be completely different. World Cup, home team, atmosphere, also rivals and everything. It will be completely different in that regard. Canada are in a bit of a pickle, I'm not gonna lie. Although USA under Pochettino don't look that exciting as well. They look quite shaky, I'm not gonna lie. But hey, it is what it is. Alphonso Davies just got an ACL for Canada. It's also not looking good for him. But if we move forward, here is the thing. Arsenal view Frankfurt's Hugo Ekitike. Remember the guy from PSG? He is from PSG, signed for them. As an alternative striker signing, should they be priced out of Alexander Isak deal? Like, obviously there are recent reports that Isak has basically halted his talks for a contract extension at Newcastle, and not sure why. I'm genuinely not sure why, because so far Newcastle look like the real deal. Maybe he's waiting to see whether they finish in Champions League spot or not, because there have been lots of reports that Bruno Guimaraes and Isak, more specifically, staying is quite reliant on getting Champions League. So we'll see how that goes, how everything results in that regard. But 150 million as the asking price for Alexander Isak. Two things. First things first, he doesn't fit our style of play. First of all, because he definitely wouldn't fit in that. Second of all, for 150 million, we can sign two top-class players. For 150 million, genuinely, we can sign two top-end players, to say the least. Because, whether you like it or not, it's not how much money you spend. It's how you spend it. Arsene Wenger is prime example to that. All the Portuguese teams are example of that. Brighton are example of that. They basically buy, it feels like nobodies or guys with talent for what it feels like peanuts, and then sell them for quadruple the value, 5 times the value, basically at the end of the day. And that is the thing. It's not how much you spend, it's how you spend it at the end of the day. So it is what it is, because by default, if you look, Ekitike's transfer value is about 40-50 million. Obviously, Eintracht Frankfurt are asking 80, which is about 72-73 million pounds, which is the same category of Gyökeres and Osimhen, right? So it kind of stands to a point, which is very well in Arsenal's price range. Let's be real, 150 for Isak, I wouldn't be so sure. Let's just put it that way. Ekitike is a decent striker, I'm not gonna lie, he's very, very decent. The thing is, the fact that it's Eintracht Frankfurt, it really gives me PTSD. Because over these countless years, I have seen Eintracht Frankfurt produce phenomenal strikers. What it looks like, at least. Like, you know, Luka Jovic, Aller, Andres Silva, Kolomuani, and players like that. As soon as they leave to a different club, they flop. Instantly. Jovic flopped at Madrid. Kolomuani flopped at PSG. Silva flopped at RB Leipzig at the time. Aller went to Borussia Dortmund, was mediocre, went to West Ham, did nothing. Now he's in, where is he even? He beat Cancer, if I'm not mistaken, as well, so big up to him in that regard. But hey, I'm kind of on the fence about that in those terms. But they have quite a few. Although Marmoush, right, from Eintracht, it looks like he could be the real deal, right? So there obviously will be some misses, and so time will tell how that goes. Generally, how that goes. Ekitike is the future and is balling right now. Him we can get of waste all the time chasing Isak, not giving him when could have gone. That's the thing. We are chasing. We are linked with Isak. Like I don't know. We are like bees on honey at the end of the day. It feels like Isak has been smeared in honey, and Arsenal are like bees, and everything gravitates towards them at the end of the day. But we have missed out on Tony, on Watkins, even though Watkins wouldn't be the ideal, in my opinion. We have missed out on Tony more specifically in that regard. There have been talks about Osimhen. We missed out on Boniface Girassi, in my opinion, also were decent ones. Dovbyk, who moved in summer from Girona to Roma. We have missed quite a few proper strikers, but apparently there were no market opportunities, as Mikel Arteta wants to say. Yet he every single time preaches like it's the Holy Bible to the fact that he wants to maximize every single goddamn transfer window. And he contradicts himself consistently and pretty much lying to some extent, and nobody obviously calls that out. Genuinely nobody calls that out pretty much. Unless you are awake and you are... If you're not a top gooner, you obviously are calling this stuff out. Otherwise, well, it is what it is. You just go with the flow and everything. That's how basically Arsenal fan base pretty much is, most of it at least. Market opportunity, 17 million for Isak. Kvaratskhelia. 17 million for Kvaratskhelia. 70 or something million for Marmoush. 2 market opportunities as well. Squandered at the end of the day. Massively squandered. Because we actually should have done something this winter, so we have to do less in summer, but obviously we didn't. Big up Nathan, big up my guy. We are so back. Everyone is hella excited about Bukayo Saka being back. I can see that genuinely in the chat, on Twitter, everywhere. It's kind of nuts. I don't want Isak. Sorry, he'll come to us and then the doctor's table and want those. Yeah, for me, I don't want Isak as well. And it's not as much as injuries, as because he is obviously an injured liability to that regard, right? But he also does not fit the system. Unless this stubborn, narcissistic manager finally decides to change the system, how he wants to play, Isak will never work. Isak will never work. Isak needs space. He needs being running on a counter. He needs open spaces. He needs to dribble and everything, and we cannot give him that. We generally don't. Since everyone parks the bus against us, we need someone who is like a fox in the box type of situation, who generally needs one touch, bang, goal. That's all we need, a proper finisher. And so, that's why I'm so pissed that we missed out on Dovbyk, we missed out on Tony, and I would not be against Osimhen, and obviously Osimhen, and I would not be against, as much as you maybe will hate me for saying this, signing Harry Kane in the summer. I would not be against that whatsoever. Genuinely would not be against that, especially given that he is actually quite available in the summer as well. Osimhen plus Semenyo and you still have change left over after this, if you are talking about Isak's money. 67-70 for Osimhen, apparently, about 40 for Semenyo, or let's just say 40-50 for what's his face, for Mbuemo, and you still have 20-30 million left lying around. You sell, for example, Zinchenko for 30, you add together, you have 60 million, you can go and market again and sign a proper midfielder if you want one. So yeah, it feels like we are making things harder than it should be, and it's really frustrating because I have seen this for Arsenal since the beginning of time, what it feels like. And again, we are not even in transfer window, and already the famous 2 words are coming out in media. The war chest. The war chest. This year, however, instead of 200 or 190, it's 300 million. This year, the inflation has worked and it's 300 million. Ironically enough. And I've been waiting for this war chest since 2011 when we got promised it. It's been 14 years, decade and a half, and we still haven't seen one single bit of it. So hey, maybe at some point. Osimhen, Williams, and Saka will cook, and Bukayo, Gabi, Ethan as backups. Ekitike will take 3 or 4 seasons to adapt. Nothing. That is also a big question. Will he hit the ground running instantly? Because one of the biggest things about Arsenal, in our current state specifically, is the fact that we don't need project players. We cannot afford to sign players that need 2 years to adapt. Because basically, it's a very unheard of thing that happened, for example, with Saliba. 3 times you go out on loan and all of a sudden you're the main guy in the team. Gabriel as well. It took him 3 years, 2.5, 3 years to get the bozo gene out of him, learn English, and realize how he should be playing in the defense. At the moment, at that time, we had the luxury to do that. At this stage specifically, we don't have this luxury. So when we sign players, we need to make sure we sign players who instantly hit the ground running. Whether they are established world-class type level players, or we sign players for Premier League specifically, who know the league, who know how it works, and who know how to get the job done. We don't have the luxury of time anymore. Because the longer we drag this out, and we have dragged this already for a year and a half longer than it has been, should be done, right? The more time we give for other teams to catch us up. Because we are regressing at the moment, because we're standing still. As my grandpa used to teach me, right? If you're not moving forward, you're regressing. Because standing even still means that others are catching up. So by the letter of the law, whilst everyone's moving forward, everyone's going past you. So you're regressing at the end of the day. And that's what Arsenal are now doing. We're stagnating plus regressing on top of that. And it's just a matter of time until other teams going to catch us up. And let's be real, Man City will be back on that high horse next year. Whilst they are at the moment behind us. They will be back on that high horse. We don't know how Aston Villa is going to look. We don't know how much money Newcastle are going to get. Because they are there or thereabouts. They need few more signings and they can overtake us or be on the same level as us. We saw last year how Newcastle played in Champions League, and they were actually quite phenomenal. They were very unlucky not to get out of that group of death with PSG and all these teams. So it is very, 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 very close. We are very close to being back just top 4 merchants and scraping top 4 like we used to. Very close to that. Remember that guy from Stuttgart last year at Dortmund doing nothing? Guirassy. Yeah, Guirassy. He was available for 13 million. 13 million, given how much money we have spent on these bums like Kivior, Vieira, and all these guys. 13 million, I wouldn't have been angry even if we signed him. I'm not gonna lie. Take a punt. Why not? Let's be real. 13 million investment into a striker in a position where you genuinely like our potential stopgap until next summer, especially since Andrea Berta we know now is in. I wouldn't have been against that. Because he is a finisher, natural finisher. And hey, but it is what it is, I guess. I rate getting Gordon over Isak. I can see that. I can see that. Gordon is something of a mix between striker and a winger, and we desperately need goals from wings, and Bukayo Saka cannot do it alone. Will UEFA actually suspend Madrid players? Atletico even send footage of speeding up the hearing, and that is the big thing. I have this favorited as well, just due to the fact that it's a thing right now. Where is it? Here it is. Wait, I don't know why it's iCarly, I think. iCarly is on it, but hey, UEFA are investigating Rudiger, Mbappe, Ceballos and Vinicius over celebrations against Atletico Madrid. And I've seen the pictures and I don't want to show the pictures. I'm not gonna show the pictures and everything, but hey, it's something again. Something again is going there. So we'll see how that goes. We need that kid Eddie, dude. Isak actually signing Isak, unless Mikel Arteta changes his tactics to the tactics we played 2 years ago in 22-23 season, he will ruin Isak as well. I'm expecting a lot from Berta this window. To be honest, whole weight of Arsenal's expectations, specifically from fan base, is genuinely weighing solely on his shoulders for the next summer. That is the big thing. Orstein said Berta hasn't started working yet. Should not be the case because he already has been at Soba Realty Center and he's talking. He might not be working officially, like signed the contract and all this stuff, but he already is working unofficially, like if you get what I mean. Making calls, asking some stuff, inquiring about certain aspects, obviously. So I don't think it might not be official, as per se, like a poster on the wall and everything, and his own office and everything, but I think he is already doing job. Cunha or Gibbs White? The thing is, For me, I'm very mixed about this because if we sign one of those, I really would love to see, for example, Rice at 6, Odegaard as an 8, and then Gibbs White or Cunha as a 10. I would want to see that. For me, neither of them are the ones to be the ones. Let's just put it that way, right? For me, if we sign a proper number 10, it's Wirtz, it's Musiala, it's someone like that at the end of the day. But if I had to choose from those two, I would actually lean towards Gibbs White. I would actually lean towards Gibbs White. Yeah, see, Marlon agrees, coach disagrees. Oh, and he doesn't even want Cunha, dude. Gibbs White is thriving with no pressure at the big club. Does he have... Well, if you don't sign him, you will not know at the end of the day. If you don't test it, you will never find out. Same like Elanga, Hudson-Odoi, etc. They look good for teams with no pressure. Well, I think they were too young at the time as well. Now that they have established themselves, they have figured stuff out. Moving to a bigger club, we actually would see the proper themselves. Because let's be real, Hudson-Odoi comes from Chelsea and Elanga comes from Man United. And let's be real, in the last 5 years, those two teams have been quite heavy in killing talent. They actually haven't elevated anything. Both of those teams have been massive messes. So it's very hard to judge those two players in that regard. Bring me Lookman, Osimhen, Sancet or Cherki. Oh, I would love to sign like Sancet from Athletic Bilbao or Brais Mendes from Real Sociedad, as ironic as it sounds. And someone like that. Oyarzabal even from Real Sociedad is fantastic. I'm not gonna lie. So, La Liga has a lot of ballers. I'm not gonna lie. It's just a shame that people overlook them because they don't have GA. They look at the stats and they think they have everything figured out. How about you don't give a F about the stats and watch him play? Watch the touch, footballing IQ, passing, shooting, open spaces, running in between the lines and everything. How about you focus on player like that instead of the GA only? I'm not saying Gibbs White is the answer, but for me he has been the best 10 in the Prem this season. This season, arguably he's top 3 100%, yes. He's the answer, to be honest. He's creating and scoring for fourth, which, yeah, Odegaard is just, well, let's not even get to that. I swear, we should try him in an 8, just because. Would you take Elanga now? Depends, really depends. Really, really, really depends at the moment. Because Elanga needs, just like Martinelli for example, specific tactics to thrive. And the way we play football, it genuinely is very, very hamstringing, if that's a word. It really hamstrings and puts in handcuffs our players, not allowing them to be fully who they are. Because 2 seasons ago, we saw when we played very expansive attacking football, we saw what our players are capable of. And that's why we are these days so, not maybe as harsh on the players, but more harsh on the manager. Because we have seen those players thrive in certain environment, which this same manager created at the time. And he has completely destroyed it, disrupted it, completely switched away from it, and is not going back to it. And that comes at a massive cost, with making our players look much worse than they actually are, to some extent. And the fact that also we go in windows, specifically in the last 2, right? And we sign players for the system, not adjust the system to elevate the players' strengths and hide their weaknesses, is one of the biggest issues why we are where we are and why we are at the state we are at the moment, in my opinion at least. Right now, at this point, best signs are Zoboslai, Marmoush, Gibbs White, and Damsgaard, Emil Smith-Rowe. I need to see more from Marmoush, but he definitely has the potential to be there. Gibbs White 100%, ESR as well, Damsgaard as well. Zoboslai is a hit and miss for me as well. He tends to be inconsistent still. I would. Who else is there? Like, it's very weird. It really depends over the whole season. Uh, Shockingly terrible balls. I mean, to be honest, we need better than all of those. We need better than all of those. Only player like I can see that elevates Arsenal instantly to certain level is Marmoush. I'm not gonna lie, it is Marmoush. If we want some other players maybe to have some stop gaps or proper backups, Gibbs White is the answer 100%. I don't see Williams working for us. He doesn't do the out of possession work, and Arteta hates the. Yeah, that is also the case. But this is again on Arteta pretty much. Because you don't see managers like Ancelotti and others basically forcefully make his attackers to track back to his own box and defend, to play left wing back, to play number 6 and everything. We saw that with Lacazette. He made Lacazette play as a number 6 half the time. Aubameyang was playing left wing back half the time. That again is on manager alone. And that is on him. And Bukayo Saka has said this countless times in interviews, that Mikel Arteta wants his attackers to defend first and only then think about the attack. And that is a big, big issue. Rodgers is very decent. Rodgers has walked our midfield no left, right, and center, I'm not gonna lie. And for about 17-20 million, they signed him for it's actually quite phenomenal business by Aston Villa. Damsgaard has impressed me, but yeah, not for Arsenal. Yeah, that is the case. He is very good, but not for Arsenal. Genuinely not for Arsenal, and that is the big thing. Anyhow, let's look what else is here. Obviously, we talked about Ekitike and everything. Let's refresh the page so I kind of lose the ones I have already talked about. Of course, the big news of the day. Bukayo Saka on Instagram. Hello again. He is back in training with Arsenal squad. He will be also ready to face Real Madrid in Champions League quarterfinals. And to add on top of that, there has been talk about the fact that he already will be on the bench for the game against Fulham. I don't think he's gonna start, but he will be on the bench. So it looks like it's pretty much inevitable that Bukayo Saka will be back this season. Of course, it's pretty much evident. In best case scenario, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 14 games to play. In best case scenario. Basically, best case scenario is we go to the finals in Champions League. That's why it is 15 games. Well, 14 games. 9 in Premier League, 2 quarterfinals, 2 semifinals, 1 final, 14 games in best case scenario. Worst case scenario, it's only Real Madrid. Let's be real. But yeah, Saka will be back. He will play. I'm kind of excited from the point of view that our squad is actually getting some bite in the attack back. At the same time, I'm very, very cautious and very, very scared about reoccurring injuries with Bukayo Saka now, given the injury. But the thing is, he is back before the schedule, and that is, to be honest, two factors kind of played into this. The modern medicine, obviously, because it's much more developed than it used to be. And on top of that, the fact that Saka is still very young, so he recovers quicker. Because if Saka was like 30, he would be out for at least one to 1.5 months more. 100%. So, in that regard, as I said, I'm very on the fence. Personally, if it was up to me, I would not play Bukayo Saka. I've been quite adamant about this. I would not play it. Because for me, the potential risk, as great as it sounds, might come at a very, very high cost in terms of Saka's future, in terms of Arsenal's future. Let's just put it that way. Because there have been endless examples of players coming back from these injuries before schedule, and then it's been 10 times worse afterwards due to next injury they get. At the same time, I'm happy. I'm not gonna lie, because as much as I am against all of this, I'm also very happy because yesterday watching women's football, us playing a women's Champions League, Arsenal versus Real Madrid, it was actually an amazing game to watch. Because the attack of our women's team is 10 times better than our men's team. The midfield is very balanced, unlike our men's team. And our defense looked also very solid. That's the only thing that women's and men's teams have very good. Besides that, they basically blew Real Madrid off the park. They played them off the park. Chloe Kelly, fantastic on loan from Man City, ex-Arsenal if I'm not mistaken. Rousseau, fantastic. Caldente, phenomenal. Leah Williamson really, how to say, redeemed herself after that madness that happened at Spain and everything. Very good game. Very good game. Obviously, we did very good. Now, today was the draw. We play Lyon in semifinals, which is very scary. I'm not gonna lie. It's very scary because Lyon are arguably one of the favorites, if not the second favorites behind Barcelona to win the Champions League, or Women's Champions League. So it will be very interesting to see how that develops. But yeah, time only will tell. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If Chloe Kelly looked better than all of our wingers combined, if you exclude Bukayo Saka from our attack, she looked better than all of our wingers, attackers. Alessia Rousseau looked better than Jesus, Havertz, and Ketsi and all these guys combined. So it's kind of nuts if you think about it in that regard. Yeah, we needed this. On some level, definitely. Hudson-Odoi was 3 million, yeah, at the time, yeah. Deal for the output, the same money we paid for Marquinhos. And to be honest, Marquinhos should have been a free deal as well. There definitely was some brown envelopes involved. I don't feel sorry. We must play. We paying him. He must play. West Madrid use your best asset for forward. Yeah, if he is fully ready in that regard, I have no problem playing. If he is fully ready, but if it's like the same scenario like we already had this year when Odegaard plays injured, Timber plays injured, Rice plays with broken toe and everything, or like Bukayo last year with the ankle messed up, then it's a completely different story. Just give Saka 15-20 minutes against Fulham and Everton. Yeah, and I think there are rumors that he's going to play again in a game behind closed doors to get some fitness, to get a bit of a run out against Cardiff City, if I'm not mistaken. And then give him about 15-20 minutes against Fulham. If he looks good, give him one half against Everton, potentially, although against Everton, maybe not the best team to give a whole half. And then see how he looks genuinely. Just test him out. Yeah, that Arsenal versus Real Madrid, yesterday's game was fantastic. And to be honest, they were 2-0 down coming from Spain on aggregate. And they beat them 3-0. Real Madrid pretty much did nothing yesterday. And our team could have scored about 5-6 goals easily. 2 were offside. Russo could have scored 4 goals yesterday. That is actually kind of nuts. The scarcity won't get stronger with him sitting. Yeah, that is the thing. It won't get stronger, and at the same time, it actually will get weaker because they need to contract, they need to work, and that is a big issue. They will get stretched and everything. In that regard, yeah, but he needs some cameos. He cannot be like this. We play Fulham and he instantly starts. If that is the case, I kid you not, I will flip my wig. I will flip out if that is the case instantly. If he gets put in the starting 11. That genuinely will be the worst case scenario. That is something I don't want to see. If you want to play him that desperately, then play him for the 15-20 minutes. Give him a cameo. If he looks decent enough and in the training afterwards he looks very good, give him more minutes against Everton. And then leading up to Champions League game against Real Madrid, especially at Emirates, you can decide, right? But if you basically put him in the starting 11 against Fulham already instantly on the Tuesday, I don't want to see that whatsoever. That is genuine and utter head loss. Yeah, Williamson yesterday was fantastic. Redeemed herself after the madness we saw in Spain. Can we play Russo as a 9? Dude, imagine Chloe Kelly on the left, Russo as a 9, and for example, Nwaneri on the right? Caldente in the midfield and everything. Like mixed team. Can we play a mixed team? Actually, it wouldn't be too bad because based on yesterday's game, though they actually were fantastic. Obviously, there's less contact since it's a women's sport and everything. There's not as much physical battles and everything. But if football was not a physical contact game, they would play quite a bit of even men's teams off the park to some extent. Now, what else is here? Declan Rice has been nominated for Player of the Month for March. In Premier League, so it will see very interesting. It will be very, 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 very interesting how that develops. Don't think he is the one that should get it. I'm not gonna lie. I much rather give it to Elanga or Milenkovic, and I'm saying that as an Arsenal fan. But Declan Rice should be in the mix, but he should not win it. I'm just gonna say it that way. Ethan Nwaneri is very close on an agreement over a new contract with Arsenal. with an agreement between all parties expected soon. Apparently, Nwaneri is very happy at Arsenal, and contract talks have been easy. So it looks like he's gonna get a good wage increase, and he's gonna be on the books for a long, 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 long time. Which is obviously very good. He's young, he has talent, he just needs more game time. That is actually very, very, very nice to see in terms of Arsenal. The world will shut down after that. Mixed teams, yeah, mixed 11. That, like, I'm kind of nuts. Rice and Raya sums up our season. Right? Well, to be honest, you cannot exclude Gabriel. Gabriel has to be there, and to some extent Simba. And isn't that telling much about our season, where basically our player of the season, from our point of view, is a defender slash goalkeeper? Isn't that telling you something? Kobe Mano 70 million deal available. Will you? Tyler Dibling got 100 million. Dude, Southampton put 100 million on Dibling. I get that he looks very good. He's 18, he's English and all that crap, right? But 100 M's, come on, get real. Genuinely, get the F real. 100 M's, come on, man. 100 bloody M's. That's actually kind of insane. Anyways, some random news which for me are very interesting personally. Personally, this is my biased pick for today's talk topics randomly. Qatar Sports Investment, who actually own PSG as well, are about to buy Spanish side Malaga. The parties are in advanced talks on an agreement estimated around 100 million euros. And if you ask me why, it's for me very interesting and very exciting, because one of the best semifinals and finals and everything at the time was in early 2010s. Malaga with Isco, Demichelis, Idris Kameni, if I'm not mistaken, or Claudio Bravo at the time, Joaquin up top, and Roque Santa Cruz, and Camacho, and players like that were absolutely balling. Isco was just an uprising player. He was like 20 something and he was balling out. That semi-final against Borussia Dortmund, phenomenal semi-final. Both legs absolutely mind-blowing legs when Lewandowski just in the last seconds just got them over the line into the finals, where they inevitably lost to Bayern Munich, thanks to Robben, of course. But overall, and even in La Liga, Malaga were going full on head-to-head, toe-to-toe with Real Madrid. And that time Real Madrid was, Real Madrid. Barcelona as well. And Atletico Madrid against biggest of the big teams. They were going head to head. And that's why I'm talking about this, because I want to see more clubs like that. I want to see this because, in a way, at that time, I became a fan of Isco. Isco is still, to this day, one of my favorite players to watch when I watch football. And since he's gone to Real Betis, he genuinely has rejuvenated his career full on. So it's actually phenomenal to watch. That's why I'm mentioning it. That's why I am mentioning it. Let's be real. Oh, this one. Arsenal tweeted this out today. Watching the Arsenal in style. Enjoy some of the best food with some of the best football. First of all, we don't play best football, so you can shove it where the sun doesn't shine. Best food? How about you tell the prices first? Because the prices are about 8 quid for a bottle of water and a hot dog. If I'm not 8, like 12, 15 quid for a hot dog and something like that. It's actually kind of insane the prices there are at the Emirates, I'm not gonna lie. I get why, but it's actually kinda insane to say the least. Where is it? What Nathan Dumm's gonna so Rice can buy Malaga. Basically, yeah, for the price of Declan Rice, we could have bought Malaga. And ironically enough, I don't know, Coach, if you were here or not. We were discussing this yesterday, and also on Lee Gunner's stream, he was talking about this together with Aaron, Kenny, Matty, Southern Gunner, DJB, and Northside, and everyone else. That over the 12-13 years Berta has been at Atletico Madrid, right? He has 110 million net spent on signings and sales combined. Only 110 million net spent. which basically is one Declan Rice. That's what he has done in 12 to 13 years at Atletico Madrid. And to add on top of that, by the way, look at the players Andrea Berta has signed and sold and for how much. And the strikers he has signed, it's actually kind of nuts. My 11 versus Madrid. Here we go. Nathan is already doing a preview for a game in week and a half. Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Skelly. Partey, Rice, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, Menino. Well, that's the obvious one if Saka is fit. That left back side is a bit 50-50 for me because Skelly obviously is a good when he goes forward. Defensively, he's still not inexperienced and he's going to be against Rodrigo, so that's going to be hell on earth. Calafiori, rather not see him there at all. So Tierney is the one, but he doesn't have the game time, so it's a weird one. It generally is a weird one. That left side is very full-on messed up for Arsenal. And Williams, Merino are besties. I don't want any besties. Don't want Williams, don't want Merino. Personally at Arsenal. Place Trossard up top, Nelly and Saka wings and play real. Isco. Yeah, Isco had phenomenal potential at the time. Isco at the time when he was at Malaga, his potential was genuinely felt limitless. Genuinely limitless. I remember even doing a career mode on FIFA 12 or 13 when he was at Malaga. What I did was I did Isco Road to Glory, right? Where I basically removed every single player from Malaga, put there basically only youngsters team, relegated them to La Liga 2, of course, and only key player was Isco. And over about 9-10 years, the way I signed youth players, signed players in general and everything, free agents and all this stuff, right? In 7-8 years, I won Champions League twice, once La Liga, 4 times Copa del Rey. Isco was 97 rated, the best player in the world, and he won Ballon d'Or 2 times. It was one of my favorite career modes to this day, what I have done. To this day. And I have played every single FIFA since FIFA 98. So 27 years. And that still to this day is one of my favorite career modes. That is something I really enjoy to do, by the way, in career modes. I take one marquee player, for example, Nwaneri, right? Make him the main player. Put in just youth players or the lowest rated players from free agency and take all the main players out. And then just genuinely, and then I set rules, for example, only scouts, only scout youth players, only sign free agents. If I can only sign players that are worth 10 million or less. I cannot sign any big players and stuff like that. I set myself like frame I have to fit into, and then I just go from there. Obviously, in this year's FIFA, EAFC 25, you can turn off the option getting sacked. So I definitely this year I do that because there are many times when it's glitched and many times when the things are not going your way, to say the least. So it's a bit of a cheating, but hey, it is what it is. We need dogs, don't even. Alessandro Pato, dude, that guy, it was insane. Same goes for Stefan El Shaarawy. If you remember Mastor from AC Milan, Mastor, remember that guy? Oh my gaze, that guy was insane. There have been loads of those. Zakaria Bakali, Adnan Januzaj, Gabriel Obertan. There have been so... Jesse Rodriguez was the next Cristiano Ronaldo. Remember those days? That has gone well, hasn't it? Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Yeah, your favorite sale was with Portsmouth, I get it. The hardest is Bill. Yeah, one of the hardest ones is Bilbao solely because they only sign players from their region. That is one of the things. They are very weird, and I get it. Why? Obviously, I get it. So it's very rough to kind of fit into those frames. Same goes for Valencia. More specifically in olden FIFAs, Valencia, when they had David Silva, when they had Roberto Soldado, Alves in goal and stuff like that, those were just nuts. FIFA 11, FIFA 12, and FIFA 13, career mode wise, for me was the best ones, because after that they revamped it, and now they revamped it again, and it was actually insane how bad they are revamped these days. because I have very big urge to genuinely go and buy, and either it's on Steam or wherever, buy FIFA 12 or FIFA 13 and just play the heck out of it. Career mode wise specifically, obviously you cannot get online because the servers have been shut off. Because I still have, I think, the last CD I have ever purchased game wise. I should have it. Last FIFA I have ever purchased. The last one, FIFA 16. This is the last one I have ever purchased. The last one I have ever had. FIFA 16. Since then all has been digital pretty much. That is the last one I have ever purchased. David Villa, dude, the days. I would argue that not. You could say yes, but he kind of strikes me more of a winger. But you cannot disregard Raul, first of all. You also cannot disregard Butragueño. It's a big shame, for example, Guti never lived up to his potential. Guti was phenomenal talent. It's just his attitude that stunk and really was his biggest downfall to some extent. Obviously, the circumstances also are somewhat unfavorable for him overall, but there definitely have been some massive Spanish players, massive Spanish strikers. But for me, best Spanish striker for me personally, is Raul. Raul is top. Then for me, I would say David Villa, but David Villa more as a winger as well. Then for me, Emiliano Butragueño. And yeah, and then afterwards there are big debates about Torres, about Diego Costa and players like that, even Morata to some extent. GTA, I don't even want. I'm not gonna buy GTA 6 as well whatsoever. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna play GTA 6. CR7 clear. Villa Varabal clear. Yeah. Raul, Iniesta, Xavi, Puyol. Yeah. Torres. Yeah. El Nino, baller at Liverpool, fail at Chelsea. It is what it is, I guess. Unai Emery, this is a nuts one, by the way. Unai Emery in his first season at Arsenal has done just as much as Mikel Arteta in phase 5. Unai Emery in the first season, 29 games, 57 points. Mikel Arteta, phase 5, 800 million spent, 29 games, 58 points. This is going well, innit? This is genuinely going well, innit? But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. People want to say Mikel Arteta is the second best manager in the Premier League. No chance in hell. No chance in hell if you ask me. My camera is going out of focus, I'm very sorry. No chance in hell if you ask me. No chance in hell. That's the rich uncle. Okay. Kid you not, this statement kinda makes me want to time you out for 10 minutes. I'm not gonna lie. Kinda makes you want to time you out. Pep, Howe, Iraola, Emery, obviously. Let's be real. He wasn't just given proper opportunities. There are quite a few. You could argue maybe even Frank, obviously. Nah, you are a fraud for saying it. Iniesta is a fraud, yet he actually scored the winner for Spain in the World Cup extra time final against Netherlands when Robben balled 2 one-on-ones where Casillas made incredible saves. And that is the case. And that is the case in that regard. For me, Iniesta is up there. Top 10, I would say. From the ones I have seen play. I have to put that asterisk there because there are quite a few before my time. Iniesta is in Zidane conversations for me. The thing is, Iniesta wasn't only a number 8. Half the time he spent as a number 10 and the other also big time he spent as a left wing. You cannot discredit that. He has played multiple positions in adapting in multiple areas. He's been quite fantastic in doing that over the years. The Xavi, and Busquets, that trio in the midfield is absolutely phenomenal to say the least. That trio, and let's be real, Busquets arguably is one of the most underrated number sixes, maybe even in history of football. Because everyone talks about Messi, about MSN, about team under Rijkaard, team under Pep, team under manager. Forgot the name after Pep Guardiola. Oh my god. Not Tito, but the other one. How am I blanking on this? I'm blanking generally. The manager after Pep at Barcelona. Luis Enrique. Fucking hell, my brain. But yeah, those two, and everyone forgets about Busquets because he was surrounded by such quality players like Jordi Alba, Dani Alves, Puyol, and everything, and it feels like Busquets to some extent is the forgotten one, like in that sense, because it talks about everyone besides Busquets. Iniesta was phenomenal. Yeah, Busquets was class, in my opinion, very underrated. Makelele was very good. Very, very good. Pirlo made me fall in love with football. I can see that. Pirlo, ironically enough, is one of those who basically did the unthinkable to some extent. He went from one place to another where you should not go. AC Milan, and Juventus. You usually don't see that. Generally, you usually don't see that. Although Zlatan is a completely different story. He travels all across the world to go to every single club, and he doesn't give a crap. Busquets had Eto'o and Ronaldinho. Yeah, you see, we all talk about these Xavi, Iniesta, right? Eto'o, Henry, by the way, let's not forget, Messi, right? Puyol, Dani Alves, Jordi Alba, Victor Valdez. We talk about all these guys, right? And none of you mentioned Busquets to some extent until I didn't mention him, until I mentioned him basically. That's how it goes. It's like Busquets is like the forgotten child in a way, in that sense, when we talk about that Barcelona, that prime Barca. Oh my days. Eto'o, Drogba. Ooh. This is a rough one. For me, it's Eto'o. For me, it's Samuel Eto'o. The treble and everything and all this stuff, for me, it's Samuel Eto'o. Like, he won wasn't Eto'o the guy who won a treble with Inter, then went to Barcelona and won the treble there as well? Wasn't he the guy who did that? Or do I have it the other way around? Yeah, Figo from Barca to Madrid, it's like, that's insane to me. Yeah, Eto'o is clear. Yeah. I asked the other day which continent right now would win. Yeah, win. Like, close call basically between South America and Europe. Very close call, I would say. But yeah, I think on that note, we have, again, just like yesterday, we talked about some nostalgia about the childhood and olden days. And now we talk about the old school football, man. It's actually kind of nuts. Özil or Oscar? For me, it's Özil, I have to say. For me, it's Özil. It has to be. Especially that Oscar, with being 28 or 29, went to China for that big cash and everything. It's a bit, it's kind of has a bit sour taste has left in mouth. Özil was top assister for Ronaldo, and next year he comes to Arsenal. He was very good at Madrid. He was very good at Bundesliga. He was very good at Arsenal until a certain point and everything. I think for me, Özil over Oscar 100%. Although you cannot deny Oscar's ability on the ball as a Brazilian. One of the biggest issues with Özil is the work rate and the weak foot, since he had none of it. Yeah, international break convos. Those are some of the best ones, isn't it? Schweinsteiger's still my baller, never gets any. Yeah, Schweinsteiger is very underrated. Very underrated. Goals, Ramirez at Chelsea, he run. Yeah, Ramirez just sayonara. Same goes for Yannick Carrasco. If you know, you know. There are quite a few of those. Paulinho. And they're quite like who went everywhere. It's actually kind of nuts. People forget about Klose. Yeah, 100% people forget about Mario Gomez as well to some extent. Diego Milito. Sometimes Di Natale even gets forgotten. Michael Ballack, great player. Same goes for... I would say there are quite a few of those who get forgotten. Like, it's actually kind of nuts. Philip Lahm is a bit different. He is actually one of those who is different level. 2 positions and everything. Yeah, Alexis was great for us. He was phenomenal. Alexis is that type of a player which we need at the moment desperately in our team. He is one of those type of players we haven't had since he left. We need someone like that, and that is a big thing. Anyways, I think on that note I'm gonna end today's stream. So if you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new around here. See you guys very, very soon. See what we're gonna talk about afterwards. Maybe some more random, by the way. We might actually talk about some very random football players, very random stuff tomorrow. Just random football chat just because it's the international break convos. We could talk about, yeah, you see as he's saying, Diego Godin, for example. Miranda. Like Felipe Luis, Diego Costa, and players like that. We actually might just do tomorrow's stream where we just randomly talk about random defenders, attackers, and midfielders, just because it's international break and there is actually some stuff. And we could talk about some maybe underrated players in the lifetime when we have watched football we have seen. Yeah, like forgotten ballers, for underrated footballers, something like that. We might talk something like that. That would actually be actually kind of nuts in that regard. Basically, Streets Won't Forget show. Basically, obviously there will be the obvious answers. Of course, let's not kid ourselves. Like there will be some nuts ones that everyone knows, everyone will name, and everything is pretty much straight up obvious. But there will be some random ones that nobody remembers. Like, well, here we go. Bojan Krkic, lots of potential, Stoke City hero and everything, and that's it. Halilovic, for example. Everyone knows Michu for Swansea, for example. One phenomenal season, like set the world on fire, then disappears. Same goes for, was it Nilmar? I think it was Nilmar for Villarreal. 1.5 great seasons, then disappears from the face of the earth. Bernard for wasted potential to some extent. There are lots of those. We could actually do a stream on that tomorrow, for example. But yeah, for today, I'm gonna peace out. Take care. Big up Marlon, Coach, Nathan, everyone who dropped by, who commented, who subscribed, who liked everything. See you guys very, very soon. Take care. Have a nice evening and have a great tomorrow as well.